Alright guys, welcome to the second Doctor Who Q&A. I know this is not even a day later, but I only had about 17 questions and it didn't look like I was getting any more. So on that account, it's not anyone else's fault. I posted that video really late at night, so I imagine not a lot of people saw it. So, and who knows, I'll probably more than likely do a third Doctor Who Q&A in the near future, so don't feel bad. As always, guys, if I didn't answer a question from someone, that probably more than likely meant that I basically YouTube screwed up and didn't put your questions on the comments page or marked it as spam. So I do apologize in advance that if I didn't answer your question, that's wise, because YouTube was being a dick. Anyway, so this time around I'm going to do I'm going to go, pretty much from top to bottom. So anyone who asks their questions first, for first place, you guys are going to have to unfortunately wait. Anyway, so let's kick things off with Jerkwater100, who asks, have you read the Doctor Who Star Trek crossover comic Assimilation Squared, and what are your thoughts? I have not read it, actually. I've been meaning to get it. But here's the thing, my friend the Mount Vernon kid said that he was going to get me the two trades, but that hasn't happened yet, and I'm kind of considering, should I just go out and buy the comic? But on the other hand, my other friend Dukaloops1993 has said that it's not the greatest thing. It's just a lot of pandering around and just a lot of nothing. But I do want to read it for myself and be the judge of it, because I've heard mixed things, like it's good and bad. I really want to read it, more or less, but no, I have not. And I feel bad that I haven't, because it's Doctor Who and Star Trek The Next Generation together. Oh my god. So, yeah. And your second question is, which Doctor Who planet would you like to visit? I don't know, because all of them turn out horribly, on the grounds of there is a lot of evil on each planet. Like, something's wrong with each world. I don't think I'd want to visit any out of fear for my life. Anyway, so thank you for those questions, Jerkwater100. The next set of questions come from Senior Nerd, who asks, would the Doctor save Krypton? Would the Doctor save Krypton? That is a good question. I'm going to go with no, because I think the Doctor would realize that this is a fixed point in time. If that didn't happen, then we wouldn't have Superman, you know? If Krypton was not destroyed, then Superman would never exist, you know? Superman wouldn't be part of Earth's history. So I'm going to have to say, with as much as he would want to save that, I'm pretty damn sure the Doctor would want to save Krypton, but it is a fixed point in time. But he can't do anything about it, because we all know what happens with fixed points. Anyway, so I'm going to go with no on that one. Your second question is, rumor is Peter Capaldi will be a one-and-done like Eccleston in Season 1. Could there be truth in the rumor, considering Capaldi's age, and by the looks of the trailer, his Doctor will be the most dangerous Doctor ever in the show? I've heard that rumor before of, Capaldi's only going to be around for one season. I'm going to go with no, because I actually think that, the thing with Eccleston's season was that, because of, he didn't care much for, behind-the-scenes drama. There was also, when he was leaving, he got a lot of death threats for, leaving Doctor Who. So it was more of his choice to leave. It wasn't like, hey, Eccleston, you're just here to promote the show, bye. I don't really think it's gonna be that way with Capaldi either. And Capaldi's age, he's actually quite spry for it. I mean, I've actually seen some videos of him running and being very young despite being his age. I mean, he's almost 60 years old, and he's quite spry for his age, I'll say that. And it's nice to see an older Doctor, and I would like to see Capaldi, an older Doctor, around for a bit. I think it's high time we got an older Doctor back on the screen. Now, depending on how long he stays, I don't think it's going to be one season, I don't think he's going to be a one-and-done Doctor. Because, again, that wasn't the whole intention with Eccleston's Doctor. It was just circumstances. Whereas Capaldi, I think they want to keep. I think Capaldi did talk about since he's been such a fan of classic Doctor Who in this era's Doctor Who. In fact, he was the guy who really inspired Matt Smith to stay on for as long as he did. There's actually a funny story, and I know I'm getting a little sidetracked here, but there's a story of after the 11th hour, Matt Smith felt a little like, oh, I sucked, I'm not a great Doctor, I'm not as great as Tennant, and Capaldi came along and said how much he loved Matt Smith's Doctor, and that gave Matt Smith inspiration to keep going as the Doctor. So I really think Capaldi wants to stay around as long as he can. Now, depending on, he's also very healthy, for being almost 60. So you got to keep that in mind. So I think I think he's going to stay as long as Smith and Tennant. I think he might be around for, depending on how well Doctor Who does, which it's the BBC's best rated shows, if not the best, next to Sherlock. So I'm going to say Capaldi's got some time around for him. I'm going to say as long as Matt Smith, if not even, maybe even longer. He might be the longest running Doctor. Smith, I think, is Tennant might be the longest running Doctor in the new series. No one doesn't have any. No one has the length as long as Tom Baker, but I think Capaldi wants to stay around as long as he can. That's kind of the thing, but no one knows the future. Anyway, so and depending on how he does look like the most dangerous Doctor, but William Hartnell started out as a very grumpy old Doctor, and so did Pertwee, but they lightened up while still retaining that whole violence to them. So yeah. Anyway, you have a third question, and it says, could J.J. Abrams do a Doctor Who movie so that we will finally call the Omega Supreme Lord of all geeks and flares? What? I don't think J.J. Abrams is going to do a Doctor Who movie. It would be cool, don't get me wrong, but I don't see, he's busy with Star Wars. I know he's only doing the first Star Wars movie, but I think what Disney wants him to do is oversee the other Star Wars movies. It would be cool to see him do a Doctor Who movie, but I don't think even Abrams wants to be typecast as the go-to guy to reboot or do stuff with science fiction. I don't think he doesn't want to be that kind of typecast director. I mean, obviously he's done Lost and Star Trek and Star Wars, but I don't think he wants to be in that light. I think he would like to do other stuff outside of science fiction, but again, I think it would be cool. Let's take those questions, Senior Nerd. So next question comes from Didi Kinji Makara. Oof, that is a mouthful, and I apologize if I butchered that. Yeah, Didi King Makara. Okay. Thank you for... Okay, I think I got that name right, but I apologize if I completely butchered it. What do you think Capaldi's Doctor is going to do that causes him and Clara to question if he is a good man? That is a good question. I'm really curious too. Is that is this right after his regeneration and he's still unstable and unsure of himself that makes him answer that question, or if he does something so horrible in the opening episode or an episode that makes him question that. So that's really interesting. We're finally, we're getting a very, not to say, the other past three Doctors had their dark moments, but it looks like this is going to be the Doctor that is like, yeah, I'm the take no shit Doctor. So that'll be interesting to say the least. So thank you for that question, Dee Dee. Next comes from Aaron Izzard, who asks, from what you've seen of Peter Capaldi, how do you think his run will be? Do you think his run will be good or mediocre? I am really hoping it's good. I've been nothing but excited for a new Doctor, because you guys have to understand, I didn't get on to Doctor Who until reruns of Tennant's series. I didn't get on until reruns of Tennant, and then I had to play catch-up with Matt Smith until Season 6. So, even though Tennant was my Doctor, I followed Matt Smith. I never really encountered my first regeneration. I was always like one regeneration behind. So I didn't really... So this is my first time, following a new Doctor from the get-go along with everybody else, rather than, I'm playing catch-up here. So that's kind of the thing, is that I'm really excited for this, and I'm really hoping it's good. The BBC didn't really apparently the BBC didn't give a lot of budget, which I'm kind of upset about, because even though Day of the Doctor did very well in terms of ratings, they're like, no more budget for you, no extra budget for you. I don't know. But no, I am real, and everyone has a lot of faith in Capaldi. I mean, the other major Whovians have a lot of faith in Capaldi. The BBC has a lot of faith in Capaldi, and they wouldn't pick him just to say, they wouldn't pick him for any other reasons other than, I'm tongue-tied here. What I'm trying to say is, I don't think they would pick him unless they knew he was going to be a good doctor. And I think they know what they want to do with him, which is all well and dandy. I'm just really hoping, the episode, I don't think it's going to be if anything is bad, I don't think it's going to be Capaldi's fault per se. I think it may be the writing, because Moffat has done well recently, but we've seen some bad Moffat, haven't we? I've looked back at Asylum of the Daleks, and Asylum does not hold up well. I mean, Moffat's did some really good stuff in the recent years. Name of the Doctor was really good in my opinion, but who knows? And there's also been other episodes that were written that just made me go, ugh. But I don't know. I'm really hoping Capaldi does really good. So thank you for that question, Aaron Izzard. Next comes Magpie Nest Productions, who asks, how would you reintroduce the Valeyard? Ooh, good question. Good question. How I would bring back the Valeyard. I think what I would do is have him. I would basically have it that Capaldi. I would have Capaldi's Doctor be a little more. Obviously he's going to be a little more violent and aggressive, but I think what I would do is have him, the Doctor, trying to, make him obviously a little disgusted with himself. He's like, maybe I need to be somebody different, and try to force himself to regenerate. And, timey-wimey stuff happens, and he accidentally creates the Valeyard. Or he becomes the Valeyard by accident, while trying to change himself, forcibly, trying to make a regeneration forcefully happen, and it just, shit happens, and it's up to the companions, like Vastra, Clara, and Strax and Jenny. It's up to the human the Doctor's supporting cast, to try to fix this without the Doctor's help. I think that would be pretty cool. I don't know if that made any sense, but then again, this is Doctor Who, where even nonsense can make sense. So thank you for that first question. Your next question is, what classic character would you like to see come back? So, classic character, not just villain, any classic character. So I'm going to go with a other classic character. I think I would love to see the Doctor meet Ian and I know the actress who played Barbara passed away, but the actor who played Ian is still alive. I think the actress who played Barbara passed away. I'm not sure, but I know the actor who played Ian is still alive. And I would like to see the Doctor meet Ian again. It's been so long, and the Doctor and Ian has aged. I know that in the Sarah Jane Adventures, in the Death of the Doctor episode, Sarah Jane says that there was a rumor that Ian and Barbara were never immortal. Became immortal, excuse me, but they could say that, that was just a rumor and whatnot, and we've been aging, so yeah. It's also kind of funny because they've been reprinting some of the Doctor Who comics from Britain, and there was one story for the 50th anniversary where Matt Smith's Doctor meets Ian and Barbara once again and goes on an adventure with them, and it's awesome. I would also like to see, in terms of other returning characters, I would also like to see, I'd like to see Tegan come back. Tegan would be cool. I think Tegan would be a nice returning companion. I think that would be a lot of fun to see. Obviously, I'd like to see the Doctor see Susan again. That would be a lot of fun. I'm trying to think here. I think that's a few. There you go. There's a few right there. And your third question is, how would you bring back Ace? Ooh. Now, for those who don't know, next to Sarah Jane Smith, Ace is pretty much my second favorite companion. Of course, Sarah Jane Smith being the first favorite companion. But Ace is really cool. I think, and also going back to Day of the Doctor, where Sarah Jane made a mention that there's Ace Chemicals now. There's Ace Industries. Ace Industries, excuse me, not Ace Chemicals. That's a totally different thing. There's Ace Industries, and I would have it that Ace, after the Doctor left, she and the Doctor went separate ways. She became more, she basically became this entrepreneur. She became this this powerful mogul in the business world. But on the other hand, she was very bitter that the Doctor left her. She would be like, "Well, you were the closest thing I ever had to a father, and you ditched me. We went on so many adventures together, and I saved your ass so many times, and you helped me from being some punk kid in a coffee shop, and you just decided, you're gonna, bye." I wouldn't say directly how how or where the Doctor left her, but I would say that that pretty much with Ace, that the Doctor pretty much left her out of fear of of her getting killed. But they never. I wouldn't go into further specifics. Just kind of keep it as an aura of mystery. And the whole episode would be the Doctor trying to reconnect with Ace. And it's kind of funny because Sophie Aldred did say that had Elizabeth Sladen had not passed away and the Sarah Jane adventures were still going, she would have been on the show. She was actually very that Russell T Davies wanted her to appear on the show. But I think it would be cool to see Capaldi's Doctor try to reconnect with with Ace and see how that would fly with her. Like, I think she would it would be funny she kept the bat the whole time, the silver bat the whole time. Like, it's under her. She has this huge office, and she pulls out from under her desk the bat and just wail away on an alien or a Dalek or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I would like to do. Anyway, so thank you for that question, Magpie. Next comes more Daleks. I mean, more crossovers. But why did I say more Daleks? More crossovers. Who asked? Apparently, the BBC has a contract with Terry Nation stating that the Daleks have to appear in every season, even if it's just a cameo. Thoughts on this? That's all. That's always been a thing. Actually, that's been kind of the thing. That I talked about this when the new Series 8 trailer came out, and it features a lot of the Daleks, and I basically talked about why we see Daleks in every season, even if it's just Series 6 was the only time where we only saw them once, and they were just around for one scene. Because again, they don't really Terry Nation still owns the rights to the Daleks. The BBC does not. If they don't use them for even so much as a cameo, then the BBC loses the rights, more or less, and they can't use the Daleks again. So that's kind of the nature of the beast right there. That's kind of the main thing. I know, and again, I'm really kind of excited to see the Daleks in Series 8 because, again, going back to what the whole thing with what McCoy said, you're not really the Doctor till you show how well you've proven yourself against the Daleks. So I'm really excited. That's one of the major things I'm excited for Capaldi's run, is to see him go head-to-head with the Daleks. Especially this incarnation of the Doctor. So, yeah. I hope that kind of answered your question there. More crossovers. Next questions come from Alistair Boneman, who asks, what are the top 5 classic villains or monsters you would use against this new Doctor Who? This new Doctor. So 5 classic villains or monsters I would use against the Doctor. I'm not going to use Cybermen or Daleks, or obviously the few ones. Even though we can't use her because the BBC lost the rights to using this character, the Rani. The Rani's one. I actually have a good story with her. God, Time of the Rani is terrible. The Rani would be one. The Pteroleptrals they got mentioned in Time of the Doctor, so the Pteroleptrals would be really cool. I think I would also use. Who else would be on my list? So that's two: the Pteroleptrals, the Monoids. The Monoids from William Hartnell's era. If you remember the Monoids, good on you. The Crotons. Got to use the Crotons from Patrick Troughton's run. And one more. Ronnie's. The Ronnie, Pteroleptrals, the Crotons, the Monoids, and I want the Celestial Toymaker back. There's another one. I want the Celestial Toymaker back. I know, Michael Gough, who most of you guys would know as Alfred from the Batman, from the Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher era Alfred. He played Alfred in those movies. He was a William Hartnell era villain as the Celestial Toymaker. There's someone I really want back. So thank you for that first question. Your second question is, which Game of Thrones characters would you have as companions for the new Doctor? And if the Doctor went to Westeros during the events of the TV show, what do you think the Doctor would make of it? Okay, who would make a good companion for the Doctor in terms of characters from Westeros? The only one I can think of, because they're all kind of broken in their... Well, actually, no, two. There's two characters I think could make really good companions. Sansa. I think Sansa would be a really good companion. I think she would just want to be taken away by all of this horrible, bloody shit. So, there's one. She'd be one. Sansa would be one. The other one I could see is Brienne of Tarth. I think she would make a really good companion. You might be saying, "Oh, she's this big hulking warrior. She can't do much." Well, if you remember Leela from Tom Baker's era, she's a skinnier warrior woman that defended the Doctor. So I think it would be pretty much like that with Brienne. A lot like Leela, only a little more, sociable. So Brienne and Sansa. And what would the Doctor think of Westeros? He would hate it. I think he would just be like, he would look at the state of what it's in and just be like, God, I want to do something, but I can't because it's fixed. It's a fixed point. Damn it. So thank you for that question. Your third question, and your third and final question is, this one's a little strange, but here goes. In the 10th Doctor's run, the episode The Doctor's Daughter, we saw Ginny, a.k.a. the Doctor's daughter, live and start her own adventures. My question is that if she were to meet up with the latest Doctor, number 12, would she join him on his adventures, or would she continue on her own path? And if she joined the Doctor, how would you write her? Okay, that's not actually a strange question at all. I think it would be cool to see Ginny come back, especially now since she's David Tennant's wife. Yeah, try to wrap your head around that. But yeah. What was I gonna say? I think it would be cool to see her come back. And be part of. It would be interesting to see how she would react to Capaldi, and I don't know if she would know about regeneration. So would she say maybe the Doctor would remember her, but would she remember the Doctor? Would she know, since she's part of the Doctor's DNA? Would she know that regeneration's a thing? And I think she would stay around, but seeing as how we might get it, we're pretty much getting a darker Doctor. I think she'd be like, no, I can't do this anymore, and continue on her own path with her quote-unquote father's blessing. So, yeah. That's what I would do. So think of those questions, Alistair. Next comes Daryl Nyes, who asks... Okay, I just had to look for your question, sorry. Daryl Nyes asks, "Hey, thanks for answering my Batman questions. Now this is a questions, but but not my Doctor Who questions. Will you be answering these questions with Duke Loops 1993? Sadly, I don't have the equipment anymore with my new computer to do. I don't have really a microphone. Like a built-in system that allows me to do shared call, so I'm kind of fly solo with these. As much as I'd like to have Duke on here as well, I can't really do that, and I think I've explained this before. But so I do apologize for that. Daryl, your first question is, will you do a commentary on the Doctor Who 1996 movie? I'd love to. I'd honestly love to. But the thing is, again, the thing with commentaries is that they work better when you have somebody with them, and I would really like to have someone like Duke or. Actually, I think the one person I think I would have, it would be me, Duke, and Sid Part 2. He's a big, believe it or not, Paul McGann is his doctor. After Duke and I introduced him to the audio dramas, we actually to the Big Finish audio dramas, and now Paul McGann is his doctor. And I'd really like to do a movie commentary with him and Duke and Zazubar and Super DM 64. So those would be a few. But yeah, I'd really love to, even though Paul McGann's probably the best thing of that movie, and that's saying a lot. I really do like Paul McGann, guys, don't get me wrong. But that movie. Okay, but thanks for that question. Your second question is, what multi-Doctor story would you like to see in future Doctor Who episodes, or would you have liked to have seen? Okay, multi-Doctor stories. I think everyone wants to see now the 12, or you could say 13 Doctors. That's never going to happen for obvious reasons, because 3 of the actors have sadly passed away. And anyway, I think my favorite multi-Doctor story is the 3 Doctors, even though it's mostly Patrick Troughton and Jon Pertwee yelling at one another, and they actually have some really good chemistry on there as their 2 different Doctors. 5 Doctors is also really good, and also Time Crash, which has Tennant and Davison's Doctor meet, which was really fun. And of course, Day of the Doctor. I don't think their multi-Doctor stories have their flaws. Don't get me wrong. I mean, every multi-Doctor stories have their own flaws, but really, I don't really think they're all bad. I don't think they have their bad points. They're not obviously like the best stories ever, but I think they have some really good some really good stories too. I think they really do have some good stories to them. But yeah, team ups, multi-Doctor stories I would have liked to have seen if he were still around. If this actor was still around, I would have loved to have seen a Patrick Troughton and Matt Smith team up. I would have really loved to see Matt Smith and Patrick Troughton's Doctors meet, because pretty much Patrick Troughton was a lot of inspiration for Matt Smith. He watched a lot of Troughton's episodes, and if you look at his Doctor and you look at Troughton's Doctor, those two have a lot in common. So it would have made a lot of sense. And there's actually, I can't remember where it was, but I found a little short of these people doing these stop-motion figurines of Patrick Troughton and Matt Smith's Doctors meeting. So I think I would have liked that. I think it would also have been... another good multi-Doctor story is The Forgotten. That's pretty much the 10 Doctors. If you haven't read IDW's Doctor Who story, The Forgotten, that's like essential IDW Doctor Who comic reading right there. Even David Tennant said that was awesome. But yeah. That's just a few, so thank you for that question. Your final question is, have you ever read Doctor Who, the Ed and Marie Adventures fanfiction? It's a 4th Doctor Ed, Ed and Eddie fanfiction. I actually, believe it or not, I did read the first chapter of that fanfiction. I have not read it since. I've actually been wanting to read it again. I did read the first fanfiction, the first chapter of that story. I've been meaning to look for it again. I've been searching for it, actually. I thought the story got discontinued, honestly. So I'm definitely going to have to check that again. But yes, I did read the first chapter, and I loved it. I thought it was so much fun. And... just all around a lot of fun. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, so there for those questions, Daryl. Hold on 1 second. Just bear with me. I lost my my place with the questions. So next set of questions come from Andre Partridge, who asks, how would you react if someone were to cast an American actor or even actress as a future Doctor or for a future Doctor Who series? I don't know, because it's kind of like with James Bond, where that actor just has to be British. That's kind of one of the major things about that character, is that he's British. So that's kind of tough for me to say. I mean, obviously Doctor Who has gotten very popular in America since Tennant's era, but I don't know. I really do not know what honestly, I don't know who you, excuse me, I don't know if that would be the smart idea. I mean, would the fans like it? I don't even know if I would like an American actor as the Doctor. I mean, granted, there are a few American actors I think could play the Doctor. There was actually a really good list of people of if Doctor Who was in America, these actors would play them. There were some really good ones, like Vincent Price would have made a good Doctor. Someone even said Nicolas Cage, which, in a weird way, I could almost see. I can almost see that. There were a few, but I don't know. That's kind of the thing. I really don't know if an American actor could pull off being the Doctor for a Doctor Who series. It's one of those kind of, let's see what happens. If they do that, however, I think it would be hilarious that if we get an American actor to play the Doctor, one of the things, like when the Doctor first regenerates, he's like, oh my god, what? I lost my accent! That's never happened before! Anyway, so thank you for that question. Second question is, if you were given a chance to cast a person for a future Doctor Who series, who would you pick? Like, are we talking as the Doctor? Or, I don't know, because you just said cast a person for a future Doctor Who series. Because, I don't know, are you talking about the Doctor, or as like a guest star, or as like a companion? Because I really don't know. I'm sorry if I misplaced that question, because all you just said was, who would I have on here? As guest stars, I think I'd love to see Peter Dinklage on Doctor Who. I'd like to see Peter Dinklage on here. I'd like to see Ron Perlman. I'd like to see Nathan Fillion. I'd like to see so many other so many major actors out there on Doctor Who. So yeah. Your third question is, if you were given the chance to create an alien species for the Doctor to fight against, what would they be like, and how would you go about writing for them? Ooh, what kind of aliens would I make for Doctor Who? I think what I would make is a race that are... They've lost their homeworld. Their homeworld is gone, and they're just like a nomadic alien race. They're kind of like they're kind of like Tali from Mass Effect. They're kind of like her species. That they're just this nomadic race. Their homeworld had been destroyed by a war with another race, and now they're just kind of traveling the world. I mean, not traveling the world, traveling the universe. And they're not really evil, but they're kind of like, hey, when they encounter the Doctor, they're like, hey, come on, Doc, listen, we kind of need help here. Like, and Earth has all the right, accoutrements to, satisfy our world. So if you don't do something for us, we're going to go down there, and if the human race likes it or not, we're going to take it. So I think I would do something like that, and not really make them enemies, but obviously they'd be pissed off and want something. So thank you for those questions, Andre. Next comes from Burn Outer 7, who asks, what would happen if the 11th Doctor and Amy were in the Godzilla universe during Final Wars movie, and how would they help? I think the Doctor would be like, I don't really want to get in this because I don't know how to fight giant monsters. I mean, I've encountered them, but I don't know how to fight them. I think what would happen is that the Doctor would sabotage... I think what the Doctor would do is sabotage the Exilians' hold on the other kaiju and let them, roam free or even rebel against the Exilians. While at the same time, I think he would be taking out their... while the Godzilla's fighting the major monsters, the Doctor would be going behind the Exilians and, shutting down their control over the monsters or sabotaging their ships, stuff like that. Second question is, what do you think of a Doctor Who Sliders crossover? Oh, that sounds really cool, actually. Doctor Who and Sliders? That sounds really awesome. I don't know what I would do with it, but it does sound really awesome of seeing those two genres together. I'm surprised that wasn't something IDW tried to cross over. But then again, depending on how long it took for them to make, Assimilation Square, I can see why they did what they did. Anyway, so your third question is, what would the Doctor think of the main characters from One Piece? I don't know, because a spoiler alert, guys, I'm not the biggest fan of One Piece, so unfortunately, I really don't know. I think he would have fun. I think he would, be amazed by, Zoro and Luffy and all of them. I think he would just be, in awe of just how weird and how kooky this place is. Even the ship, he'd be like, oh, look at your ship, it's like a giant Popeye the Sailor cartoon! Oh, that'd be a lot of fun, so yeah. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Burnouter. Next set of questions come from Mr. Goodplot, who first question is, what would be your own Doctor outfit? My own Doctor outfit. Let's think about this. My Doctor Who outfit. Okay, this is gonna sound weird, but if you guys ever seen the Star Trek Next Generation episode where Moriarty takes over the ship, the Moriarty hologram takes over the Enterprise, and you remember that attire he wore with the vest coat and the Victorian style clothes and the pocket watch hanging out? That's something I looked at that costume and I was like, that's something I would wear if I was the Doctor, or have the Doctor wear if I had any say in the show. That's what I would do. So, yeah, the Moriarty costume from Star Trek The Next Generation to be my Doctor costume. What would be your own Master outfit? Well, I always do dress for the occasion. See what I did there? So I think it would be like a Gothic Victorian style black suit, and very regal looking. Something something that makes me look important and menacing at the same time, but Victorian style, something like that. What would be your own Dalek design? I don't think you could. Don't break. You can't fix what isn't broken. So I'm just gonna say I'd be a regular Dalek, but red. No, well, I think I would be Dalek, the same old Dalek design, with just colored black. So without the Dalek sect personality. There you go. So thank you for those questions, Mr. Goodplot. Next set of questions come from Treva Smolka, who asks, first question is, what is your opinion on Journey's End during David Tennant's run? Because my opinion is that episode was weird, but I kind of like it because of Davros and... Okay, so basically what are my opinions on The Stolen Earth and Journey's End? I liked it. Okay, especially the first half. The Stolen Earth is a really good opener, because that shows that, yeah, Davros is back, the Daleks are, they're back in force as they were in the first half, and they're taking no shit. They are taking, no prisoners, same old Daleks, and they're gunning down everybody, and you also have the characters from Torchwood and the Sarah Jane Adventures in here, and they're kind of cowering under the fear of Davros. And even the Doctor doesn't know what to do. So it was really cool. The Stolen Earth, however, is trying to be one big send-off for Russell T Davies' era. That's all it is trying to be. And I mean, yeah, all the performances are really good, but Oh man, that is not a well-received episode, in my opinion. So your question is, what is your opinion on the Time War, and do you think we'll get that? Do you think that a plot point can be solved? Just wondering. Okay. Basically, you're asking, what is my opinion on the Time War, and did I think Matt Smith's run was good? Okay, I guess that's a two-parter. First question. Okay, to answer the first one, I really like the Time War. I like that we have that it's not really known. Only it's kind of talked about and never really shown, and it really just makes your imagination run wild. Obviously we saw it in Day of the Doctor, but that was the last days of the Time War. There was stuff like the Horde of Travesties, the Nightmare Child, the Skaro degradations. What is all that? It's just up for interpretation. And yes, I really did like Matt Smith's run. It was really sad to see him go. And I think he did a really good job, because when you think about it, it was Matt Smith's run that made Doctor Who really popular. Tennant paved the way for it, but it was really Matt Smith's Doctor that made everyone just go, wow, Doctor Who is awesome. So yeah. And your third question is, what is your prediction on this run of Doctor Who, and who do you think will be a good... do you think he will be good or a complete train wreck? I'm really like I said before, I'm really hoping it's good. I'm really Capaldi looks like he's going to be an awesome Doctor. I'm just really excited to see what they're doing with this. So thank you for those questions, Treva Smolka. And moving on to the next set of questions. Okay, so moving on to the next set of questions, and the next set come from the Spawn117, who asks, what's your favorite look for the TARDIS? The inside look of the TARDIS, not the outside, because the outside just looks like the same thing. His words, not mine. My favorite TARDIS interior. Can't go wrong with the classic TARDIS interior. You can't go wrong with that, not at all. I think my favorite TARDIS interior is so far, right now, I think my favorite TARDIS interior is the current one they're using right now. I really like how industrial, yet it still has that whimsical feel to it. I really do like the just design of it. And yeah, so right now, I think my favorite one, even though it's still new, the newest TARDIS interior is my favorite right now, but I do love all of them. So, your next question is, do you think every time the Doctor travels somewhere, he's scouting out for a new location for his Nightmare Factory? I see what you did there. I don't think it's intentional. I'll say that much. I don't think he's intentionally looking for somewhere for his new Nightmare Factory. But, you never know. And third question is, I know you don't play a lot of Warhammer 40k, but do you think the Chaos Space Marines and Orcs would be good Doctor Who villains? Let me tell you one thing, if the Daleks ever met the Chaos Space Marines, the whole Dalek race would not only be going... Okay, there's a little more to it, but basically, would the Space Marines and the Chaos Marines and the Space Orcs make good Doctor Who villains? Well, they'd be interesting. There's something like the Orcs in the Doctor Who audio dramas called the Salacians, which are nothing more than these cyborg sharkmen. Let me say that again. Cyborg Sharkmen are Doctor Who villains in the audio drama. So it's kind of like, if they can have them, they can have the other. So, thank you for those questions, the Spawn117. Next questions come from DeathChrist2000, and he says, what are your thoughts on the audio drama Necromantia? I have not gotten that far in the audio dramas, unfortunately. I have listened to a few, like a lot of. I listened to the Dalek, the whole Dalek trilogy, which was like Jubilee, the Genocide Machine, and I can't remember the other one. I really cannot remember the other one, but there's a few I've listened to, but I haven't gotten that far in the audio dramas. Again, I can't afford all of them, so unfortunately I can't tell you, but it sounds cool. If you think cash blank on an if given cash blank on an episode with only obstacle being budget and copyright, what would you do? I don't know. I really don't know. That's something I'm gonna have to sit and think on, sadly. I really don't know. Sorry. I really feel bad that I can't answer all these questions, Death Christ. I feel bad that I just cannot answer all these questions right off the bat, but maybe I can give a good explanation for your third question, excuse me. So, and your third question is, do you think the internet's too harsh on Stephen Moffat? Yes and no. And let me explain. Sorry, I had to get some water. Yes, in the fact that I think Moffat is trying. I think he's a fan of Doctor Who, and he's written some great episodes. Obviously, The Empty Child, two-parter. He's written a lot of fantastic episodes. Obviously, like I said, the first season 1 episode, a two-parter, was really great. And he's written some good stuff now. I do really like Name of the Doctor, and Time of the Doctor was really good. But on the other hand, I feel like his earlier stuff was his best writing, and the thing is that, and this is the same thing I've said about Dan Slott, is that I think what's wrong with Stephen Moffat is that now that he's showrunner, he doesn't really have time to do really big open two-parters, or really want to do the stuff he really wants to do because he's kind of time constricted. He's got these time constrictions on him, and he's kind of got to make some sacrifices. So, yeah, I think the best of his writing. He does write some good stuff now and again, but I don't think it compares to his old stuff. But on the other hand, I have heard some major horror stories from BBC of on the Doctor Who set, on the set of Doctor Who, of Moffat being kind of a cold-blooded tyrant at some points. So, I don't know. So I guess you could say it's a yes and no kind of spiel. Unfortunately, that's kind of the nature of the beast, more or less. So yeah, in conclusion, I guess I'm going to say yes and no. So thank you for those questions, Seth Christ 2000. I do apologize once again that I couldn't get I couldn't give you a proper answer for 2 of those questions, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. So next questions come from Lydia Cerebros, who asks. First question is, besides Gravity Falls, what animated series do you think would make a perfect fanfiction for Doctor Who? Okay. Besides Gravity Falls, Phineas and Ferb. Definitely. That fits so well. I mean, obviously, Phineas and Ferb has referenced Doctor Who several times, so right off the gate, Phineas and Ferb. There you go. And Time Squad. There you go, Does anyone remember Time Squad? So yeah, but mostly Phineas and Ferb. That just makes so much sense, and man, that would just be so much fun. But yeah, thank you for that question. Your second question is, if you could borrow the TARDIS for one weekend, when and where would you go, and who would be your companion for the trip? Where would I go in the TARDIS? That is a tough question. I think I would like to go to... I think I'd like to hear I think I'd like to hear a Mozart play. I think I would go to one of Mozart's symphonies. I would like to go to... I'd like to hear the Gettysburg Address. I think that would be pretty cool. I'd like to also hear Martin Luther King's speech of I Have a Dream in person. I think that would be really fun. I think major moments in history. I'd also like to be there at the tear down of the Berlin Wall. I think that would be something. That would be a sight to behold. And yeah, I mean, obviously I couldn't change anything, so I couldn't really stop terrorism and whatnot. But obviously, because those are, I guess the Doctor would say those are fixed points in time. But yeah, major uplifting stuff in history. I would just like to go back and watch that. So yeah, and also look at dinosaurs, because dinosaurs. In terms of companions, I don't know, because I don't really have anyone I'd like to go traveling with around me in the entourage. Maybe the Milky Juice crew. Oh God, the 6 of us with a TARDIS. Well, no, Pop Culture Diva would probably be the best one for companion. Sorry, Deanna, but she would probably be the only person I'd go time traveling with, and maybe Duke. Yeah, Duke and Deanna. There you go. The 3 Whovians. So anyway, And your third question is, besides the TARDIS, what piece of Doctor Who tech would you like to own? No-brainer, sonic screwdriver, because you cannot go wrong with a sonic screwdriver, unless it's wood. Anyway, let's see. So thanks for those questions, Lydia. Cerebros, next set of questions come from the Omnitron12345, who asks, if Marvel ever got the comic book rights back to Doctor Who would you want to see the Doctor interact with in the Marvel Universe at large, or keep him his own separate for the most part? I think it would be best if they kept him in his separate comics once again, but seriously, if they ever got the rights back to Doctor Who, Jonathan Hickman on a Doctor Who story, dear Lord, that would be amazing. Rick Remender on Doctor Who, I think that would be fun and dark and creepy. Again, Hickman, that's the obvious choice right there. Like, hello, that guy needs to write something Doctor Who. I would even like to see Bendis on Doctor. I would actually like to see how Brian Michael Bendis would write the Doctor. Oh, and I know people aren't fond of him, but I think he really, like, obviously reading his Silver Surfer, I think he would. Dan Slott, I think, would make a really good Doctor Who, because I've been reading some of it. I've been picking up little pieces of his Silver Surfer run, and it is so much like Doctor Who. It is not even funny. So I would really like to see Dan Slott, and he's a huge Doctor Who fan. So Dan Slott on Doctor Who, but Jonathan Hickman first and foremost. So there you go. Thank you for that question, Omnitron. Your second question is, do you think that the 12th Doctor will have an antagonistic relationship with the 11th if they ever met, like the third had with the second? And I think if 11 and 12 ever met one another, that would be something to behold. And I think it would be a lot like Jon Pertwee and Patrick Troughton's relationship in The Three Doctors. And apparently Matt Smith is getting a cameo. I've heard that he's getting a cameo in season 8. So I don't know where that's going to be like. I don't think it's going to be a full-blown, the two Doctors are teaming up. I think it may be a longer regeneration sequence because of how short and how sudden the Capaldi's Matt Smith's regeneration was. I don't know, but I can obviously see it would be something like Jon Pertwee and Patrick Troughton's relationship in The Three Doctors if they ever met. But yeah. Your third question is, do you think the War Doctor and the Ninth Doctor are the same incarnation due to the fact that the War Doctor was an unnatural regeneration? For those who don't know, the War Doctor came from when the Eighth Doctor drank a potion while he was encountered by the Sisterhood of Tarth. The Sisterhood of Khan, Sisterhood of Khan. I think it's still, even the Doctor counted as a regeneration. Is that potion apparently kickstarted his regeneration, but he got to choose who he could regenerate into. It wouldn't be like a random sort of thing. He got to choose, but it did count as a regeneration. They just provided, what he could turn into. They couldn't. It wasn't an extra. It wasn't a bonus life. So yeah, unfortunately, even the Doctor said that's still. Even though I wasn't the Doctor, that still was a part of me, and it still took up a regeneration. So yeah. So thank you for those questions, Omnitron. The final set of questions come from Wolfman the Impaler, who asks, what classic Doctor Who villain would you like to see come back as a season-long villain like Sutekh or Omega? Sutekh would be really cool. Sutekh and Omega would be really cool, like you said, Wolfman. I would really like to see, like I said earlier, the Celestial Toymaker needs to come back. He would be so awesome, especially like playing these like cosmic chess games against Capaldi's Doctor. I think that would be such a cool opportunity to use. Definitely the Celestial Toymaker as a series villain building up to him. And I think he hasn't been seen in a long time. The only time they ever used him was in the audio dramas. But I think, and you could say that the Celestial Toymaker, while he's not a Time Lord, he's a godlike being. He can change his face. He can make himself look younger or whatever. So yeah, the Celestial. Also keep the weird Chinese clothing because that's awesome. Or update the costume or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, the Celestial Toymaker first and foremost. But yeah, Sutekh and Omega would be really cool as well. So your second question is, what would the Doctor's companions think of human companions for the Autobots? I think it would be interesting, like, you're hanging out with giant robots, to which the human companions on the Transformers side would be like, says the person who's traveling around in a little blue box. We get to travel around in style. You have to run around in that. And I think it would be interesting, like, oh, we travel with aliens too, and we go to one planet, and sometimes several planets, to which the Doctor's like, I can take my companions everywhere through time and space. You guys can just go through space. Haha. So I think that would be pretty funny. And your final question is, if you, Strax, Jack Harkness, and Dalek Khan win out partying, what happens? The universe's greatest four-way, that's what happens, because Jack's there. Yeah. So, obviously, when Jack's around, sex happens. So, yeah, universe's greatest four-way. That's what happens. And all of us would be ashamed, except Jack. And Jack would... Yeah. So, I'm just going to leave you with that horrible image in your heads. Poor Strax, he'd be like, what has the human done to me? I don't know. He slipped something in my drink and I woke up feeling ashamed for some reason. To which Dalek Khan was like, I wish I could take away the memories that I have received. And Jack would just be like, you're all welcome, with the biggest smile on his face. Again, because that's Captain Jack right there. So on that note, I think, we're all done. We're all done. Once again, if I did not answer any questions that anyone asked, and that's on the grounds of YouTube was being a dick, and marked it as spam, or didn't even let them show up on the Q&A at all, so I do apologize in advance for that, but it's not my fault, it's YouTube's. And yeah, once again, I hope you all enjoyed this, and yeah, in the near future, I'll probably more than likely do a third Doctor Who, tongue-tied there, Doctor Who Q&A in the near future. Maybe not right after episode 1 of Peter Capaldi's first episode, but maybe later on, like maybe after Series 8 is done. Maybe. Anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I'm out.